So if you want to get better at your money, maybe you just started working or maybe you've been working for a while right now. In this video, I want to share with you a simple financial concept that can help you to kickstart your financial IQ. But before we move on, someone left a comment in our video and asked this question. I heard that Binance got banned in Malaysia. Is Luno good? Any other option? Well, we actually just came out with a video talking about this subject. Yes, Binance got banned in Malaysia and then, well, Luno and Tokenized are both regulated in Malaysia, so at least it is safe. However, the fees could be a little bit higher compared to others. Now, if you do not want to use Luno or Tokenized, you do have other options, but most of them are unregulated. So if it is unregulated, you may need to take the risk again if, let's say, Malaysian government choose to ban it. Anyway, if you want to know more, go and check out the video. Just do it! I learned this concept when I began my career in the financial planning industry, the simple financial planning triangle. The first level is about emergency. Emergency is something that we don't really think of all the time, but when it happens, and it will require our immediate attention. Think of it like a spare tire in your car. You may not think it's important, but when you need it, you will never regret having it. So the first thing you need to do is to have an emergency fund, at least 1,000 ringgit. This is to cater to all the day-to-day small emergencies in your life, such as, like we say, a tire puncture, and maybe you need to replace a new tire and so on. Maybe you are late to work, so you need to get a Grab. Or maybe some working tools just spoiled, so you need to get it replaced. Well, the truth is, no one wants to get into financial trouble just because of all these small little emergencies, right? So, have an emergency fund and have at least 1,000 ringgit to 2,000 ringgit to cater to all these small little emergencies in your life.
Tis but a scratch. A scratch? Your arm's off!
Another emergency that's very important to plan for is medical emergency. As a person, health is the most important thing in your life. Just ask a billionaire who's suffering from a disease and they will likely tell you that they're willing to exchange all their wealth for a healthy body. But the thing about health is this. You can do everything you can to stay healthy. Eat the best food, get all the supplements you can, but sometimes it's really just not up to you. No one chooses to be sick. So how on earth do you plan for this? The best thing you can do is to make sure you have access to the best medical treatment possible. As long as you can get treated, there is always a chance to recover and live to fight another day. So, to plan for this, you can either choose to save up a huge amount of medical emergency fund, or you can have a simple medical insurance. Personally, for me, getting a medical insurance is probably a better choice because I wouldn't want to be saving up 100,000 ringgit in my bank account and then one day falling ill. Then immediately I get to spend all these 100,000 on a medical bill. Nonetheless, even if you already have a medical insurance, when you go to a hospital, you will still need to pay some sort of an upfront deposit, maybe at least 500 ringgit or 1,000 ringgit. So again, you need to have an emergency fund to take care of all these things. However, I understand. For some of you, it could be financially challenging to fork out money to buy medical insurance. If that is the case for you, then go and work for a company who has medical insurance provided. At least someone is covering for your medical insurance. The second level of finance that you want to plan for is income replacement. The idea is that if you are unable to work, at least someone will take care of your expenses. This is something that we have all witnessed in 2020 when COVID pandemic came. Many businesses had to close down and there are many people who were retrenched from their position because their company just can't afford to keep their staff on board anymore.
This will be your last week of employment at this company.
So that's why it's very important to have at least 3 to 6 months of expenses that's saved up in your bank account. At least your finances are being taken care of while you look for another job. Try your best to save up. It's never too late. The next reason that commonly people are unable to work is due to medical reason. If a person is seriously ill, like cancer or something like that, and they are required to rest for at least 1 or 2 years to recover, most of the time, their companies will not allow that to happen and they will either let them go or give them a sabbatical. Either way, it's gonna be an unpaid leave. So during this time, you won't be paid.
Oh, hell no! Okay.
In this kind of situation, a person should have at least 3 years of expenses being saved up. So during the time when they are recovering from their illness, their life can still go on. Imagine if you are struck with a critical illness, the bank is still going to give you a call and ask you for your housing installment. We know that if you were to save up 1 to 2 years or even 3 years of your income, it's going to be really difficult. It's not something that you can achieve in a short period of time. And this is where having a critical illness insurance will come in play. A critical illness insurance will pay you a lump sum of cash to help you to survive if you are down with a critical illness. Finally, the third most common scenario that people are not able to work or they stop working is simply because they are too lazy or they have just too much of money and now it's time to retire. But that is actually not a bad problem. It's actually a good problem. So let's move on to the next step of planning. In this next level of planning is what we call the wealth accumulation phase. When it comes to the wealth accumulation phase, the most important thing is actually to understand your objective. What do you want to do? Why you want so much money? Do you want to retire in Hawaii one day? Or you want to buy a small little apartment and enjoy life with your family? What is your objective? That is very important. Once you understand that objective, the next thing you need to do is actually to understand your risk appetite. Risk appetite is one of the most important things that you must identify before you decide on what is your investment tool or what do you want to do in this wealth accumulation phase. Some people can tolerate huge risk appetite, but some people can't. They need to see the money being stable there. They can't tolerate any losing of capital. It depends on yourself. It depends on your objective. A general understanding is with this graph. And the tool that has the lowest risk of all would be your savings account. Then moving up the risk chart, we have fixed deposit. Alternatively, you can also use money market fund. We have the next thing, bonds. Generally, bonds, there are two types, government bond or corporate bond. Moving up the graph, we have the next thing, which is stocks, or we can call it equities. So how do you make money in the stock market? Generally, there are two types of return that you can get from investing in stock. They will be dividend return and capital gain. Dividend return is when the company is making money and they decided to share some of the profit with their shareholders. Capital gain is when the share price appreciates. For those of you who are interested in investing in the stock market and you would like to learn a system on how to invest systematically, we will be organizing a stock investing bootcamp in collaboration with M Investment Bank, and they will be providing a scholarship for you as well. So go and check out in the link below to learn more. The next investment in the graph is property or real estate. If today you were to buy a property that can be rented out easily and the rental can cover your installment, this means your tenant will be paying for your property installment and 20 to 30 years later, you get the property for free. Isn't that a good deal?
Hey, that's pretty good.
If you would like to learn more about property investment, do let us know in the comments below so that we can create content around it. Another thing I would like to introduce into this graph higher up the chart is derivatives. Basically, it is a byproduct. You will often hear of words such as options, futures, warrants. All these are derivatives. If you'd like to learn more about it, you can tell us in the comment below. And last but not least, the most exciting and most controversial asset, cryptocurrency. Some believe that cryptocurrency has fundamental value, while some believe that cryptocurrency is a speculative asset. It all depends on which camp do you come from. I would place cryptocurrency somewhere around this region. Some of you may be asking, so where is ETF and unit trust? Well, ETF and unit trust are actually pooled investment vehicles. For example, when you invest in a unit trust, the money will be used to invest in either stocks or bonds. When you invest in an ETF, the money is being used to invest with stocks. So generally, it is in this region here. These are the tools that you can easily access to, from normal savings account to fixed deposit and money market funds such as Stash Away Simple or Bursa. There's bonds, ETF unit trusts, stocks, property, real estates, there's cryptocurrency and derivatives. If you'd like to know more about money market fund, you can check out our video on Bursa and stash away simple. If you'd like to learn more about stocks, you can check out our new channel called The Fuck Show. Yeah, and you can learn more about stock market there as well. That was a brief introduction of the kind of tools that you can use for your wealth accumulation planning. So remember, when choosing the different tools for your wealth accumulation plan, the most important thing is to understand your objective and your risk appetite, because not every tool is suitable for you. Finally, in the last part of financial planning triangle is the part of wealth distribution. Here's where some people would like to call wealth distribution a nicer name, like legacy planning. The point is to inherit your wealth to someone. It can be either an institution, a charity organization, or your family members, whoever you like. But wealth distribution does not happen accidentally. It has to be well planned. One of the easiest ways is through will writing. Now, if you do not have a will, things will get quite complicated and it will take quite long before your family can receive the money, usually above 2 years. But if you have a will and it's executed swiftly, sometimes just less than 2 years, your family will receive the money. So, how do you use this financial planning triangle? Well, it really comes down to yourself, but generally this is what I would recommend. If you're a fresh grad and you have nothing, you're just a blank paper when it comes to finance, at the moment you graduated, this is the first part that you need to take action of. At least save up some emergency fund, and then get yourself a medical insurance, so at least this kind of emergency are well taken care of. Then only you move on to the next part. Now, however, if you're someone who has been working for a while right now, you already have certain medical insurance, certain life insurance, and so on and so forth. You probably even have some sort of investment, but you just want to keep things a little bit more organized. This is how you can use this chart. Start by comparing each one of them to see which part is lacking. Maybe start looking at your emergency funds. Look at how much do you have in your emergency fund. Does it match up to the standard? Number 2, do you have at least 3 to 6 months of emergency fund saved up? Then look at your medical insurance as well. Do you have enough medical insurance? Is the amount enough to cover for the current medical costs? Then look at your critical illness plans, your life insurance plan or your accident plans. Does it actually have enough coverage to provide you or your family at least 3 years of expenses in case if you can't work due to some disease or illness, or if there's a premature death? Having all this covered, then it's time to look at your wealth accumulation strategy. Maybe it's time to review your unit trust portfolio to see whether is it performing well, is it still matching your objective, or maybe you have a stock portfolio. Maybe it's the time for you to realign your stock portfolio once again. It all depends on what situation you're in. And finally, if you've got all that settled, maybe what you need is write yourself a will, so at least your family will not have argument if one day you pass away.